Hey, hey. It's Monday. But it's not our regular time. It is 4:30 p.m. in the afternoon Eastern time, and I'm your host, Sean Shapiro. It says so right there in multiple places. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, that show on the internet that answers your traffic and police questions whenever we're on the air, which is usually Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 a.m. But today, I had stuff and things to do in the morning, so I did it in the afternoon. 4:30, it's an experimental time for us. Yes, trying out new things. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I really do. It has been interesting for me, having gone downtown for the first time during daylight hours in a while. That's not true. I was downtown for the auto show for a week and a bit, but it's always weird for me now. Like I don't even go south into the city if I don't have to at this point, and I don't have to very often anymore. But it is nice to go and see, except for the gridlock. The gridlock was a little overwhelming. My wife said to me, "Why does it take an hour and a half to get downtown?" And my answer is because it's Toronto, honey. It's Toronto. There's no reason for it. Well, then you get into the one lane in either direction gridlock because of bike lanes, and well, maybe there is a reason for it. And construction. I went to the top of a very tall building today, and I looked down, and I was trying to figure out what city it looked like. And it looked like something that is heavily under construction. Like it's a mess. I hope, like I said, I hope you're having a lot of fun today, and I hope that fun, the work part of the fun, is concluded, and you are home ready to talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, because that's what I specialize in. That's what I like. So let's do it. Just saying hey to Kayla Draconis, who has popped in, and with greetings and salutations. Paul says, "Hi, Sean. Tuning in this late, I expect pizza." Ooh, pizza could be a good option. That and dinner options are on the topic. Definitely, I'm looking for suggestions because I don't want to go through a drive-thru. That video that I put out a couple of days ago dealing with McDonald's drive-thru and the fake news they're reporting to corporate about their drive-thru time. What an amazing amount of feedback I got. Now, the stats suggest that we've got nearly 100,000 views on the one video that talks about the initial complaint, and close to 80,000 views when we start talking about the follow-up, which discusses all of, that's turning on my phone so I can actually monitor. Nearly 80,000 views for the video that sort of goes deep into what they're really doing when they fake the news. I like fake news. It's very interesting to me. But the fake news that we're getting here is screwing up customer satisfaction. Now, I've had a lot of people who have said, shut up, dude, and eat your burger. Like, what are you complaining about? It's McDonald's, minimum wage employees. You can't expect anything from them. And my only response to that is, yeah, I do. Like, I expect the best out of everybody. It doesn't matter if they're minimum wage or executives. You do the best you can do. That's what I do. I provide the best service I can. And it's a big deal to be in customer service. You're representing the company that employs you. You owe them that. But apparently not everybody agrees. What's your thoughts? Do you think that minimum wage employees making over $16, I think it's $16.80 an hour now, tell me if I'm wrong, should at least have to do what they're paid to do, like work hard? Now, I'm not suggesting that everyone who's working at a fast food establishment is minimum wage, nor am I suggesting they're not working hard. But if you're fudging the numbers as a problem, and it's probably due to low staffing, which is probably a result of somebody trying to cut the corners to save the money, expecting you to do more with less, and that never works. Doesn't work in policing, doesn't work in McDonald's either. If you are watching on TikTok, please do me a favor, hit the like button a lot. That helps me, or helps the algorithm tell people that we're worthy of watching. It'll help them find our live stream. And that's important, because if no one's watching, we have no questions to answer. But we do have people watching. The Blonde Moment, Peter, Massimo, and Silver One, all watching right now. And more to come. Oh, Austin the Joe, 2020. What's going on? Just going into not LinkedIn, going into Instagram, CK, Todd Parker, Infinity Grow, Lush Boy, Beach Mum, Stussy, and Summers all in here. And then we've got some questions coming up here. Let's get into it. By the way, what do you think of 4:30 p.m. versus other times? Like 10 o'clock's the regular. Is this better? Maybe we do more afternoons. Okay. Nav has a question coming from YouTube, but we'll get there because Blonde Moment was the first one in the chat. And what is the I don't get the comment from the blonde moment, but maybe you can elaborate and let me know. That car guy says, "Hey Sean, it was really cool meeting you at the auto show. It was cool meeting so many people, and sadly, I don't know which person you are, that car guy, because I can't zoom in on your graphic right now. But um, that is the best part of my experience at the auto show. I was just talking to Blaze from Right Track Racing just about half an hour before we went live, and that was the whole highlight of the show, was meeting people who followed the show and appreciate what was done there when it was under traffic services. And now that I'm doing it on my own, it's great. A lot of people didn't know that I moved over because they still see the other content. They think that it just stopped and don't realize that I've been doing this on my own time since leaving, and that I've kept it going, and I will keep keeping it going. Let's see here. We've got Dave, who says, "Hey Sean." Dave says, "Saw your McDonald's video the other day. I used to work at McDonald's before policing." Hang on. When you get, and then we lost it. I used to work at McDonald's before policing too, a long time ago. I think I was 14 working at McDonald's. I was like grade 9 working at McDonald's, and it was a fantastic job. I mean, nobody appreciates it for what it is when you're in it. Not bussing, but cleaning the tables and the trays and taking out garbage like that. That's not fun, but you learn so much. And I remember hearing stories and meeting the management team from McDonald's, even at the high school. They came by and I met the owner of one of the McDonald's. And not only did they give a business card out that was worth a free French fry or Big Mac. I think it was a Big Mac. I may still have their business card. Yeah, I keep stuff. But the deal is that they wanted, like, companies want to see McDonald's on a resume because it builds values and customer service and etiquette and all sorts of valuable stuff and things. And then we have people who are mucking it up by turning them into liars, turning their staff into liars because they're forcing them to fudge the numbers on drive-thru. But yeah, Dave, McDonald's was a good thing. Was your experience a good experience overall? Let me know. Let's see here. We've got that car guy says, "I'm a student that makes $16.40 an hour, and I definitely agree. No matter how much I'm making, I should be working my hardest." You don't have to like destroy yourself. It's an entry level job. You do entry level work, but it should still be the appropriate amount of work. The people who say you can't ask people to work, why not? Like, you hired them for a reason. Why wouldn't you expect them to do work? And I think the argument is that the corporate expectations are too high. But it's funny. My follow-up video was talking about those metrics are there to check and make sure things are happening. Why isn't it? If you're not able to meet the grade, there's a reason. So what is that reason? They send people, they investigate, they figure it out. They figured it out. The fry cook doesn't know what he's doing. Whatever the case is, there is a reason. And to make excuses and suggest that there isn't a reason is, well, pretending. There is a reason. Okay, Peter says hello and hello back. Silver sends hearts. Austin Joe says sup. And then Silver One says, "Hey, brother, you're awesome. Thank you very much. I imagine you're awesome, too, even though I don't exactly know who you are from this icon, from very, very, very small, only because the icons are small. If you got questions about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, that's really what I'm here to answer, although I love talking about whatever you guys want to talk about. My name is Sean Shapiro, and I'm a former police officer who grew a heck of a beard that's getting a little out of control. And then I've even created a logo to support the beard. So now I think I have to keep the beard. People have said, shave that thing off your face. And I'm like, but I like it. And then I made a hat, a voiceover cop hat. I think it's pretty cool. And then I made a logo and I made stickers. Like, if you have stickers, you got to keep the beard. I think there's a rule. There's something written somewhere. Emma says, "Hope you're having a fantastic Monday." Every day is a good day, but I am having a fantastic Monday. Thanks for asking. Hope you are as well. Oh, yes. The blonde moment was making comments about tunnels, and I now understand it was about the very, very crappy traffic that we have. It's crappy because we don't have tunnels. I totally get that now. Can you talk about the fault charts and the need for everyone to obtain a dash cam because of them? The fault charts? Well, hang on one second. Let's get into fault. And if I remember correctly, the blonde moment is in the insurance industry, and we're talking about how fault is determined by insurance companies. Is that what we're talking about? The deal is that it is pretty cut and dry. Like, if you're the turning vehicle, you pretty much did it. You might have contributory negligence. There may be a divide, but for the most part, if you're turning, you're at fault. There's like diagrams that show how the collision occurred, and that is how they determine fault. It's not. There's no science. There's no, well, this person was going 5 kilometers faster. It's really down to that. Now, what police do is they charge based on what can be laid. What can we actually convict someone for because they done messed up? Different motivations, different things entirely. We can find one person at fault, charge one person, and then when it gets to the insurance companies, they determine that it's divided. There's a 50-50, a 60-40, or whatever split. Is that where we're going? And here's the deal: if you can prove, and this is a real problem because there's no witnesses anymore. People don't stop to see if you're okay. They're too busy taking care of their own stuff. They're on their phone. They're dictating stuff, listening to an ebook, listening to the tunes, and they're just rolling on by. In fact, the fact that you had a collision just is an inconvenience to them to get where they have to go. So you should know better. You're really causing them some heartache, but they're not helping you. A dash camera is helping you. Now, I've seen all sorts of videos where lawyers are online saying, don't get dash cameras because they can incriminate you. Yes, they can. If you're doing dumb stuff, it's going to record it and you're going to not be helped. You may be hindered by the video evidence that you've created. However, if you're a good driver who's driving lawfully, then the other person who causes the collision will be captured on camera and you might find yourself the benefit of that evidence, because if you did everything right and they did everything wrong, instead of splitting and dividing the fault, you will be the one who doesn't have to pay a deductible and gets covered in all ways and is found to be not guilty, or at least in a better position. Guilt's a different situation. But the blonde moment, I hope that is what you wanted me to talk about. But I have to say everyone should have a dash camera. No car should be on the road without one. I wish they had the kind of cameras integrated into cars like the magical ones on Teslas, because they are the gold standard when it comes to obtaining evidence of whatever you're doing. It's in all directions. I've seen magical video of people who committed assaults, and because everything's being recorded. And if you have a thumb drive, you toss it into the machine, and the machine, it's like your iPod. It's a car. It's an iPod with wheels. So you put in your card and you record everything, and it's just magic. But whatever you do, buy one. You can get it for $40. You can get them for $500. I have a $500 one. I think it's great. You can get them even more expensive if you want to. I particularly like ThinkView. Thinkware? It's a Thinkware. U1000 is what I have. And I've been turned on to Viofo, who use the same sensors as the Thinkwares. They're Sony sensors, but for like half the money. So there's no excuse. Get something. Protect yourself. Ron, thanks for the follow. Explorer with James says, second assistant manager at McDonald's here in Barrie, Ontario. We get this complaint every day. Well, Explorer with James, I thank you for voicing out. What is it? Oh, they followed up to say it's called OEPE. It needs to be under 120 seconds every hour. So that is the measurement to determine that you're operating at the appropriate speed. So what do you find is the biggest reason that your numbers go down? And is it effective to do what you're doing by parking people? And is it, now we're going down the rabbit hole, is it something that owners are pressuring you to do? Is it beneficial to break the system so someone can come in and fix it? Like, do you need more staff? What would make it better for you? That's what I want to know. Because when I worked at McDonald's, we would make food. It would constantly be making food. There was never a situation where there was no food ready to go out. And then we'd chuck a whole bunch of food if we didn't need it. And that was horrible waste. We gave it to the employees, and the employees would eat it, and that's how I got fat. but for real, like, we always had food. It wasn't a matter. And when they changed the system from the trays of ready food to these microwave, just assemble situations, I think they broke the system. And then they really messed up the system. Well, we're not talking about cars at all, are we? When they got into the whole Uber system where people were picking up and delivering stuff, because it seems like they take the priority. But now I want to come visit you in Barrie. I'm going to be in Barrie tomorrow morning. Which McDonald's is it? Yeah, okay. You going to be there in the morning? I'll come by. We'll have a coffee. Okay. Jeff wants to know if you guys are at Motorama this weekend. Us guys being the Toronto Police, or us guys me? I will not be, because I've got will I? Maybe I'll pop by. Now you're motivating me to go there. But I don't know if the Toronto Police have a booth. I can tell you I was at Motorama on the day they shut down the city, like for that COVID. My partner and I were there setting up the show. I had a GoPro doing the time lapse, and then we got told saying that they pulled the pin. They're shutting down the show. That was a sad day. That's the last time I was at Motorama. Gia says hi, and that my beard suits me. Thank you very much. Let's see what's going on here. Matt Rowe has comments about McDonald's. I love the McDonald's conversation. It's so much fun to me. Let's see here. So Matt Rowe was a chef at McDonald's. When I see McDonald's on a resume, I'm more inclined to hire. Sorry, as a chef. My bad. Not was a chef. As a chef, when he sees McDonald's on a resume, he's more inclined to hire, especially if you have no restaurant experience. That's cool. But and that makes a lot of sense in the restaurant world. In terms of corporately, my understanding is for executives, for like everybody. I'm sure it helped my police application. You know, being part of a team, wearing a uniform. I mean, a lot of things relate. Thank you for letting me know that, Matt. It was cool. Where are you a chef? Do we all need to go to your restaurant? We should plug your restaurant. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Swiss. What is this? Swiss Knight says, Jesus, are cops not allowed in improv classes? Why not? I did improv. I went to the Second City. I was totally in Second City. Okay, so what do we got here? Thoughts on tariffs? Do we really, it's one thing to talk about McDonald's, but tariffs is a whole different game. Let's see here. We got to see what Nav is talking about. Michaela had to bail. Nav wants to know about crossing the yellow center line to get to the left lane while traffic is heavy and traffic light is red. Isn't that an offense? Impatient driver. Are you the impatient driver, or are you just talking about it? So here's the deal. There is no law that says you can't drive on those lanes in Ontario. You can cross the yellow line. But if there's a center line that is multi-use, there's an offense for using that improperly. So it depends. Everything depends. If you're doing something that's a careless movement, that's not good. That could cause you to be charged for stuff and things. Yeah, everything is different. So if you're driving down that center lane or into oncoming traffic and obviously cause a collision, you're 100% at fault. And because there's such liability when you cross over into that area, I wouldn't suggest doing it. But is simply crossing the yellow line to get into the other side illegal? No. If there's oncoming traffic, yeah, that could be a problem. Let's see here. We've got Chase follows up on that, says, till a left turn on red is, what is this? Till a left turn on red is legal in Michigan, even on a two-way street, as long as you are turning onto a one-way street like a highway on red. Really? No way. It's interesting. Chase is in Michigan right now watching the live and has always had interesting things to share, but that's something I'm not aware of. Now I have to go do some research. PR Jenkins, I see your question. We'll come back in a moment and look at what you have to say. Nav, you've got some other questions here, but we'll come back to it in a second. How can I get a sticker? Silver One wants to know. You can DM me. I'll send you one. No problem. I'll throw it in the mail. I'll send you a couple. Just go to you can go to voiceovercop@gmail or go to trafficcop.ca or askatrafficcop.ca. They all go to the same place. It goes to my link tree, and on there's a form. Just send it in. I'll send one to you happily. Okay. If I own an exotic car, can I display my plate on my dash? Well, you can display it on your dash as long as your vehicle is not on the road. As long as you're driving in the province of Ontario and your vehicle is registered in the province of Ontario, well, then you have to display your plate in the appropriate place. It has to be affixed to the front of your vehicle, not the front windshield. It has to be in that conspicuous place, the front bumper, the front grille. If you have a Lambo, do they even have front grills? They look like they're just wedges. Regardless, tow hook adapter is legitimate, but it can't be on your windshield. It's just not appropriate. You go to a car show and you want to take it off the front so no one looks at it, or I don't know what the excuse is for not having one. But that's the only time you can not display your plate is when you're not driving. It's on the road. It's got to be there. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer. Says so right on the screen. You can follow me on all the major social media platforms at VoiceOverCop, but we do this live all the time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 a.m. And, of course, today I'm doing it at 4:30 because 10 a.m. was not available to me. I had other places to be that took priority. And someone said, why did you retire? That's Jad11 who wants to know. And yes, I did, sort of. I left just before turning 50, and the reason being was I needed to come home and help the fam. It's all about family. That's the number one thing in my life. And, stuff and things change. I would have loved to stay till, another 10 years, which is when I was, 8 years till I was slated to retire. 10 years probably would have gone easily. But wasn't on the cards. So I am now much more flexible, much more able to take on responsibilities at home because I don't have to drive the giant drive to work every day, which was a big problem. Going into the office was a problem. Now I can take my kids to and from school and do all sorts of things that really helps the family out. Okay, good. Just put the car guy put my sticker on my computer. Cheers, brother. Thank you. All right, you know what? If you have my sticker, put it on something. Take a picture of it. I've had pictures of my sticker on cars, and we're talking, for those who don't know what we're talking about, it's this sticker, which is actually, it's the one that it looks just like that, and it's transparent, so it doesn't actually look good on telephones because it's transparent, but it looks good on lighter objects. I would show you I can I'm going to mess with wires. I'm not touching it. I'm not going to pick it up. I'll probably break something, but it looks great on MacBooks. That I can tell you for Satan. All right. Zeus wants to know what my opinion is on the traffic lawlessness in Brampton. I can't speak to Brampton because I've been there like, I don't know, 5 times, 10 times. I don't go to Brampton. I'm very much a Toronto, North York, my pocket, which was the core. And I couldn't tell you. Like, I don't know. I've seen some crazy stuff, and I'll tell you what I think the biggest indicator or the biggest reason for it is super, super wide roads. Like, it invites speed and lots of industrial, so lots of trucks. But I don't know what the problem is, and I know people are going, I know what the problem is. No, I don't know what the problem is because those people are driving in Toronto too. The people are everywhere. So why is it there? It's got to be based on road design. That's the only thing that I can think of. It's like huge wide roads, like 100 lanes wide. Okay, I'm exaggerating just a little bit. But I see lawlessness everywhere in Ontario. Mind you, I was in Florida recently, September of last year, and it was mayhem. The roads were crazy with drivers just doing everything and doing it with very expensive cars. And then I was seeing a whole bunch of cars just abandoned on the road, like everywhere. Yeah, it's some weird stuff. What do we got here? Question of, what's the funniest excuse you've heard when pulling someone over? So funniest in terms of joke was I think it was the funniest. We'll see if I can even recover it and remember it properly. But essentially, sir, I pulled you over for speeding. Why didn't you pull over initially? He says, well, I saw you in my rearview mirror, and my wife left me for a highway patrolman, and I thought you were coming to bring her back. That was at one point my favorite, but never heard it in real life. It was just a joke that I'd heard. In terms of the funniest, and it wasn't an excuse, but it's everyone seems to have to poo whenever they're that's the number one excuse. And they think they're going to say that they have to go to the bathroom because that's the one thing that no one's going to doubt them or question them on. And every time it's like, no, I'm good. I will follow you to the closest bathroom. You can do your business, and I'll write your tickets while you have a seat. You can go have a seat. We'll write your tickets. And didn't work for me. I don't take excuses, or didn't take excuses. Janet B bought a camera, a dash cam that records front and back. That is the way to do it. I 100% support that. I have front and back camera. Many people say you don't need a back camera. I think you do. You need a back camera because if someone rear ends you and they're on the phone when they do it, it's perfect evidence. If their eyes were down, you can capture that. Perfect evidence. It's good stuff. Help the police, help you. Glam 2025 wants to know if the police can arrest, what is this? Can police arrest any U.S. plated vehicles on Canadian soil? For what purpose? What do you mean? We can arrest people for violations that are arrestable. You have to have the authority to place an arrest. Just because it's an American. Now, I've seized vehicles that were American. I've deported people who were overstays, working in conjunction with the border services. So there's authority there, but you have to be able to articulate why that you have grounds to do whatever you're going to do. You can't just say, I don't like Americans, which would be ridiculous because Americans are great people. There's great people. Now, people are currently upset about tariffs. That's not the people who are traveling and visiting our country. That's political crap. Anyway. Okay, PR Jenkins, I said I'd come back to you, and I will right now. That's coming on Instagram. If a police officer sees a car with a tinted license plate cover, do they let it go or pull them over? That depends on the officer. Because I pulled them over and usually gave an opportunity to tear that thing off. And if you took it off, even if I lent you a screwdriver to take it off, then you could avoid the ticket. But if you chose to keep it, then you got the ticket, and then you could deal with it in court. That's how I used to operate most times, depending on how the day was going. And if I wanted to give someone a screwdriver, because that essentially puts a weapon in their hands, and not always a good idea. English Police wants to know if I am related to Ben Shapiro. I'm not aware of our relation, or if there is a relation. Shapiro is like Smith amongst the Jewish people. So there's a lot of Shapiros, most of whom I do not know. Ben, just based on my observations, he has lots of hair. I do not. He has a higher pitched voice than I do. I have a low voice, and he is not tall, whereas I am. I'm 6'5". It really throws people off when I meet them in person because I do not look 6'5" sitting here on screen. All right. How often do cops show up in traffic court? More often than you'd like, because most people don't get the freebie, although it does happen. I've gone, to court, and I was a traffic officer, so I would go there, and the entire docket, the entire afternoon was my tickets. I wrote enough of them that they gave me the entire court docket. Save and except maybe there'd be one or two other officers, maybe. But 25, 30, 40 people, it was all me. If I didn't go, those people won the lottery, right? Now, I went. Most of the time, I was scheduled off duty, if not all the time. But sometimes they would screw up, and there would be a change of some kind, and I would have to go after work or before work on an afternoon schedule. And sometimes I'd get called into work earlier, get stuck late with an arrest. So those people would win the lottery. So it happens, but it's not a regular occurrence. You can't bank on the police not going. Also, other jurisdictions don't have this thing with police officers not going, because they base their stuff or they proceed based on the certificate, which is the ticket itself. They say, we don't care if the police come. We have their notes. We have enough information to articulate, and you fill your boots, try us. And very often they'll proceed and get a conviction. Okay. Have you checked out 8-Bit Bean Cafe in Whitby yet? I have not yet. I'm dying to go there, actually. I know I've talked about it before. Maybe it was you who brought it up, but I have not yet done it. Still needs to go. Roland says, weirdo with a beardo looks similar to you, not in a bad way. It's funny that you say weirdo with a beardo. Everyone that I met at the auto show, I said, you're another beardo. So I've got to go and look at that weirdo. There's another guy. Okay, this is funny. Okay, weirdo with a beardo, just so I can remember. But I was talking about beardos a lot. Okay, stand by. Josh Vader, I just saw you pop into the live. But here's the funny thing. So, and I may have talked about this online, but someone said your doppelganger is on TikTok, and they sent me the name, and I'm about to share with you their logo. Now, if you go, it's the guy's name. It's that one dude Ryan. So remember my logo is on the screen. Here's his logo. Like, hang on a second. What are the odds that his logo and my logo are so similar? I mean, that's me right there. Is that me? One dude Ryan? He talks about whiskey and stuff. So slightly different topic. I don't even drink whiskey. Not really. I've had whiskey. In any case. What do we got here? Okay. If you're watching and you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And I didn't want to not show up on a Monday, so I did, just later than I normally do. Normally we're at 10 a.m. Let me know if this is a good time to come out and chat, because we'll do it again if it is. If later is better, we'll try a later show next time. But it's always interesting to come out and chat. And one of the things I want to be able to do is to connect with the youth, those that are trying to get their licenses, who have questions about driving. So if you got questions about that, let me know, because that's, a good thing to chat about. Okay. Superman 1992 said, I came in late. Did you say it was illegal or legal to turn left on a red to a one-way? So we were talking about Michigan. This was brought up by Chase, who is in Michigan right now. Now, in the province of Ontario, turning left onto a one-way on a red light is only legal if you're on a one-way turning onto another one-way. That's probably not the case. Now, according to Chase, and I'll put it on screen because we can do that. If you're coming through YouTube or X or LinkedIn, it works. So I don't know what the acronym TIL is, But we'll go. A left turn on red is legal in Michigan, even on a two-way street, as long as you're turning onto a one-way street like a highway on ramp, which doesn't make a lot of sense because you're turning left on a red, crossing oncoming traffic, which is where the risk is. Why would they do that? That's not smart. I'm sorry, Michigan. Mind you, I have family in Michigan, and I visit them frequently. I've never seen someone turn left on a red. In my presence, I would have probably gasped and recorded it and then freaked out about it and talked about it online. But what I was told in the particular area of Michigan where we frequent, that you take your life in your hands here because the police don't pull people over for stuff like red lights. Yeah. They said, don't turn left assuming that people are actually going to stop now that it's red. And quite honestly, you wait and 3-4 cars run the red every single time. It is take your life in your hands, Michigan. It's very unnerving. Yes. Okay. What is this? Is standing up on the pegs of a motorcycle stunt driving? Matt Harris wants to know. So there's a law in the books. Well, okay, first of all, stunt driving covers a whole bunch of things. About 15 different triggers cause stunt driving charges or make you eligible for stunt driving charges. It's not just doing 50 kilometers over, it's a whole lot more. And we can talk about that now or another time. However, there is a specific charge that says not sitting in the driver's seat, maybe worded differently, not sitting in the driver's seat of a motor vehicle. Well, if you're standing on a motorcycle, it would suggest that you're not in the driving seat because your butt's not on the seat. However, I would say you would have an argument. You're still in the riding position of the motorcycle, even though it's not intended to cover motorcycles. So it's not illegal to stand up on a motorcycle. You can stretch your legs, you can stand up. If you're an enduro bike, that bike is designed. People go Dakar rally across the desert standing up. It's the appropriate way to manage the bike. In fact, sitting down is probably going to be very uncomfortable. That's why motocross people are considered like the highest grade of athlete because they do amazing stuff. In any case, if you were charged for stunt driving doing that, I would argue it and I would fight it because it's not appropriate. Right? I hope that works for you, Matt. Let's see here. We have Brian who followed me, and then we've got Nerva. Nerva says, wait, former police officer, what happened to the Toronto Police? I left the Toronto Police at the end of August. Yes. It was like an early retirement. I had stuff and things going on at home that needed my attention. Family first. Okay. Matt Harris, in BC it is, but motorcycle training book says to stand up slightly crossing tracks. So in BC, it's against the law to take your butt off the seat. That's insane. But then again, BC has a lot of strange rules. I think drinking water is distracted driving in BC. I can't. I'm going to be. I've got some friends in BC. I've got police officers across Canada and the United States, and one of the goals is to have guests on the show. I've been talking about it for months, but I haven't pulled the trigger to have the guests come on yet, just because I'm worried about because I'm not shooting from the office right now. I'm sitting in my basement where the internet is wireless. I don't have a wire coming down to the basement. Anyway, long story short, I haven't been trying to tax the connection. In the studio, however, we have a silly fast system and we're wired in. So that's where guests will happen in studio and remote. All right. Ken Sauer? Ken Sauer? I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm going to screw it up, so I'm going to give it up. Okay. Ken wants to know, tell me why my wife turns the lights off auto. Then when I get into the car, the lights are off. Because you can't tell. Wow. I don't know why your wife turns the lights off. That is a very good question and a discussion probably best had with your wife. In terms of when I've experienced the lights being turned off is when I take it to the shop. If I take it to the shop, the mechanic puts it up on the lift. They don't want the lights on in their face. Thus, the lights are taken off auto and I get it back and I end up driving with the lights off because I don't realize. Well, now I realize. I assume it's going to be off. But until I figured out what they were doing, I drove with my lights off a lot. And that's a big pet peeve for me, those ghost cars. No bueno. People need to have their lights on. They need to have their lights on. Hey, if you're watching and you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer, talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff all the time. We've got about 26 minutes where I'm going to keep talking, and then I got to go make dinner. That's what's happening in this house. No drive-thru for me. I'm making dinner. But if you've got traffic and police questions, I would love to answer them. So ask. And if you would be so kind as to like and share. If you are on TikTok, please tap the screen so your fingers go numb. If you are on any other platform, please subscribe and please share. It helps us find new people who want to know answers to stuff and things and talk about McDonald's drive-thrus. Yeah, if you haven't seen the video, check it out. It's on TikTok, Instagram. I think I even put it up on, did I put it up anywhere else? I don't know. Okay. Ken wants to know how long until the government mandates the clearance lights to have to be on in the daytime as well. Well, clearance lights, you're talking about the rear brake light illuminators, or are you talking about commercial motor vehicle? In any case, there was a change for new motor vehicles being manufactured, I forgot what year, that the dash lights are going to be linked to identify whether the lights are on or off. So I don't know if that means that they won't illuminate unless the lights are on, or if they are going to be specifically having a light that indicates the system is on. Mind you, nobody reads the manuals anymore, so it won't change. I will tell you this, if your lights are off, that used to be a great indicator that you were impaired. I used to get a lot of arrests for people who did not turn on their lights at night. Let's see here. Suman wants to know two things. No, they want to spam the chat asking the same thing. After getting G1, how long do I have to wait to G2? Suman, this is like G1 101. So you have to wait a year unless you take a qualified course. And when you take the qualified course, it's an approved course by the MTO, and that will reduce the waiting time to 8 months. You have to have it for 8 months minimum with the course before you can even take the test for G2. So that's a thing. And it's good because the whole idea is that you get experience. Now, if you have experience in another country, let's say you were driving elsewhere and you have many, many years of driving experience, but they will not give you your G as a straight trade because there's no agreement with the country you're coming in from, it's possible to provide your previous experience to the ministry, and they may accelerate. They may take that experience and count it towards you going for your G2. So in those cases where you qualify, you would be able to accelerate and take it almost immediately. Hope that helps. You've got more questions asked. Please don't spam, though. You asked it 3 times, and I read them in order. And sometimes I don't get to it because I'm talking about other stuff with other people. Let's see here. Matt the Kid says, can we ask questions in the TikTok or is he on Twitch? I have a channel on Twitch. I'm not currently broadcasting there. Just because I'm trying to make sure all the channels are working. We'll expand back to Twitch and Kick. We're on both. I used to be on both of those. Let's see here. So yeah, ask him here, Matt, and we'll chat here. Rum Shop says, hi, Sean. Hi, Rum Shop. And they follow up with saying, driving behind a non-lit police car, keeping, what is this? Non-light police car? What is a non-light police car? Keeping the flow of traffic. Can you get a ticket? Non-tailgating just behind the police car. So you mean non-light meaning they're just driving? Okay, so the deal is you're not allowed to go above the posted speed limit. Police cars can. Police, fire, and ambulance are legally permitted to exceed the posted speed limit in the lawful execution of their duties. Actually, let me rephrase. Police can go above the speed limit, lights on or lights off, above the posted speed limit. They can do it while just driving around because they're patrolling, and that's an acceptable thing. I can't get to see what the person in front of me is doing if they're driving above the speed limit, even if I'm not doing speed measurement. I just want to see inside the car to make sure they're wearing their seatbelt, that they're not on the phone. I need to be able to exceed the posted speed limit. So while it's not an emergency with the lights on, it doesn't mean it's not an emergency or they're not doing work. Fire and ambulance need to be going to an active fire or medical event or transporting a medical patient. Those are the times that they can exceed the posted speed limit. And generally speaking, they need to have their lights and sirens on or some combination of stuff and things. And Cam Corbin says, hey, Sean, how you doing? I'm doing well, Cam. Thanks for asking. Let's see here. We've got, and yes, Rum Shop says even off. I'm assuming you mean the lights off. Yes, lights do not need to be on. The only time a police officer or a police vehicle has to have their flashing lights and siren on is to go through a signalized intersection against the red. So if they approach the lights, a traffic signal that is showing them a red signal, then they have to, by law, come to a complete stop. Their emergency equipment has to be on, completely on, lights and sirens. And then once the traffic has come to a stop, they can safely proceed through the intersection. Now, once they get to the other side, they can turn off the lights or they can keep them on. That's up to them. They're only required to have them on during that time that they cross a red signal. Of course, if something happens, they're responsible. That's why they have to be really sure it's safe. Cam says, you got a ticket, didn't you, Rum Shop? Did you, Rum Shop? Because they can totally give you a ticket. If you're following them you're asking for a ticket because they know what speed you're doing. All they have to do is look at their speedometer. They're qualified to do that. Okay. What do we got here? We got water to sip. That's what we got. Okay. Waylon, it is Waylon70 says, I thought you retired. Well, I did. I left. I am no longer a police officer. That's why it says former police officer there. However, I do enjoy what I do, and I'm still doing it. I started doing it on my own, and then I've had, I started a not-for-profit called Better Traffic. See, this is, this is Better Traffic. BetterTraffic.ca is the website, and it's a new not-for-profit that is in place. And we have started to get sponsorships. We have different companies that are helping they're giving us money so we can have a budget so we can hire people and grow this to be North America wide. We want to help all of Canada, and then we want to move into the States and help all of the States. We want to make traffic great again. We want to make it safe again. We want to make it safer for your friends and family to get to where they're going. And we want you to not get tickets for stuff you didn't even realize were ticketable. So it's a dream. It's a passion. It's a thing that I want to do. I want to help people. And just because I'm not a police officer anymore doesn't mean I can't do that. It just changes the way I do it. So if you want to sponsor us, if you want to, or if you know somebody, a company that really wants to get behind traffic safety in Canada, let me know. Let them know to contact me. We'd love to hear from them. Okay. We got Shirtless John. That's a scary name. Shirtless John says, stop signs. How does right-of-way work? The right-of-way all the time, even if you're stopped after. I don't know why I said that. So here's the deal. The first to arrive, first to drive. If everyone were to get there at the same time, it's the person on the right who would have the right-of-way, which is silly. So if 4 people get there at the same time, how do you know who's on the right? Well, everyone's on the right to everybody else, aren't they? So someone has to go. And after that person goes, then it would be to the right of that person. And it would continue around clockwise. Now, counterclockwise to the right. Now, pedestrians think that they have the right of way. They don't. They have the right of way only if they're lawfully in the intersection. But the car that has the right of way also has the right. It's such a mess. We got to do a session where I just do the traffic safety, basic traffic safety G1, and also talk about pedestrian safety because people are confused, and I get it because pedestrians just do whatever the heck they want. They think they always have the right of way. They don't. In fact, you can ticket a pedestrian who enters the intersection while a vehicle with priority with the right of way is already engaged in a turn. So if they just walk out in front of a car, they're legally responsible for that. They can be charged. Yeah. Pedestrians deserve more tickets. They don't get enough. Okay, what do we got here? We had a deadbolt. Stunt driving is made up charge. What? Stunt driving is a made-up charge. This can all be covered under existing HDA codes and penalties. All laws are made-up charges. They're all made-up charges. Stunt driving is a specific group of activities that trigger a higher penalty. Why? Because when you do really dumb stuff and you repeatedly do dumb stuff, they up the ante. They make the consequences higher and higher and higher. And it was increasing penalties until they finally said, we're taking cars. Why, your statement makes no sense, bro. They're all made up laws. So what's the point? Okay, so can we if we charge you with careless driving under HTA existing charges, as you put it, so you get a ticket and then you just go do it again tomorrow. They needed to come up with something that had a higher consequence. 30-day license suspension, 14-day vehicle impound. Well, it didn't start that way. It was lower. They raised it. They had to increase it to include private property because, well, people were doing dumb stuff on private property. The consequences are extremely high when it comes to court. 1 to 3 year driving prohibition on conviction for the first time, $2,000 to $10,000 fine, 6 months in jail. Although I don't really, well, actually, I've seen some recently where they've gone to jail. Why wouldn't they make up a law to specifically address the worst drivers on the road? So it's made up for a good reason. Okay, Ian Longo says, Sergeant Lawson just sent me, he's sending me coupons. During the auto show, we went out to eat a lot, and there were no deals on during the auto show. But now coupons have arrived, and Subways is offering great promos. I got them in the mail today. So he sent me a picture of it saying, where were these deals during the auto show? That's awesome. Okay. Ian wants to know about public safety if we remove bike lanes in Ontario. Public safety how? Are you talking about cyclist safety? So before bike lanes ever existed, bicycles were being ridden on the road safely. Now, things obviously, because of people, squeaky wheels get a lot of attention. There was a suggestion that we needed to have specific roads with either bike lanes on them, other things to make it. But if you ride safely, you not only don't interfere with vehicular traffic, I think you're okay. We will, if we get rid of bike lanes, we'll still survive. I'm not a big bike lane advocate. I was complaining about it today as I was downtown Toronto, and no one was moving fast because bike lanes were causing. Nobody was in the bike lanes, but you had one lane roads because bike lanes without people in them. So why couldn't we just have a Shero at the side and a car that gives them the 1 meter clearance that's always been a thing, or at least in the recent. Anyway, I'm not a big fan of bike lanes. I think they're quasi ridiculous. I think we should have bike roads. Oh wait, we have sort of bike roads. They go through the entire. You can go from the water to North York and never see a car because you were through a park system. Mind you, you would have to cross a couple of streets, but you can go. I used to love taking the bike. I was a big avid cyclist. So as much as I'm crapping on cyclists, I am a cyclist, or was prior to my motorcycle collision. And now I have an e-bike, which you cannot use under power in Toronto parks. In any case, if I can go all the way downtown and never see a car because you're in a path system, it's amazing. Not path like the underground mall, path like the walking, running, jogging, bicycling path. Check it out. You'll freak out if you've never seen this. Go check. Okay, I can't. I gotta show you. I gotta show you because people are like, what was he talking about? Bike path Toronto. Let's see here. Cycling network map. I think I'm going to really shock people. No, I just want to see. No. This is a crappy map. Multi-use trail. Okay. Let's go in here and share this. I don't know. This is not the best map. Share. Okay. So the green are the multi-use trails. So all that, as it loads, will allow you to ride completely. Now we're not talking about bicycle, because what is it? Sheros and dedicated bike lanes are blue, and there's tons of them. But the green is what I'm talking about. The green is everywhere. I think it's awesome. Check it out. I'll let you do it on your own time. Nav says I did not miss yours. I just haven't I've got the first one. What is this? Oh, no kidding. Naz says a carjacking incident in Durham was solved because of a Tesla camera. I'm telling you, they're the best things to slice bread. Nav follows up by saying, is there, he's sure that I have arrested many drivers for impaired driving? I have. And wants to know if there's any funny incidents. Yeah, there really were, because drunk people tend to be funny until you're fighting them. So the deal was that I arrested a guy who was on private property when he finally stopped. Like, I pulled him over, and then he got out of his car, then he got out of his car, and he drove away from me. And it was the longest slow speed pursuit ever. I'm like, he's not a pursuit. He's relocating his car. And he ended up driving into his underground parking lot, and then he did a 127-point turn to get into his parking spot. And I blocked him in and walked up, and I said, "You're under arrest." And he goes, "You can't arrest me. I'm a private property." That really was what he sounded like. Yeah. So he went to jail. It's pretty funny. Okay. What do we got here? Okay, so we're good for that. Let's go back here to the questions we have there. This is M2 AIM E. I don't know what your username is. My motorcycle will not trigger a traffic light sensor, and there have been times when other vehicles don't come around for a long time. Can I assume the red light is broken and proceed safely? In some jurisdiction, they have called a red dead law, where if the red light doesn't change, it can be determined that or assumed that it is faulty after a certain period of time malfunctioning, and you can go. That is not the case in the province of Ontario, and you must wait. So what would I suggest you do? If you can make a right turn on red lawfully, make the right turn on red, and then make a U-turn and go the way you wanted to go. If there's no one around, get off your motorcycle, go press the walk button and trigger it that way. If you don't have a walk button and you don't have the ability to make a right turn because there's a sign prohibiting it, can you run the red light? Legally, no. But if there's nobody there, like no police, nobody, then there's nobody there to catch you. Now, I'm not advocating for running red lights. Please don't misunderstand. But you can't be told to just stay forever. Like get there at 4 p.m., get relieved at 8 p.m. or 8 a.m. when someone shows up to make the turn. That doesn't work. So you're in a predicament. Could you walk it across the street? Then you're jaywalking, but you're not driving. Like it's ridiculous. There should be a red dead law here. Okay, just saying. But your mileage may vary. You could find yourself being in a situation. But what officer in their right mind would ticket you for that? Plus, you'd probably see them. Okay. What do we got here? Floating down a river with a pool noodle with a beverage is operating a vessel. Come on. Sorry. BC's apparently got some really strange stuff. I'm looking forward to having an officer join me to chat about them. Hi, how long does it take to get back points? That's crazy. I am. Who wants to know? And the answer is they expire after 2 years from the date of the offense. So if you went and paid your ticket immediately upon getting it, within about 15 days, a conviction would be registered and your points would be assigned by the Ministry of Transportation, and those points would stay there for 2 years. If you took it to court and it took a year to get to court, you would, and you were found guilty in court, whether you pled or whatever the case is, you would have the points attached from the date of conviction, but they would only last for another year because you waited a year and they're only good for 2 years from the date of offense. However, your conviction would stay on for 3 years from the date of conviction, which would be the day that you pled guilty and paid. So, yeah, it all depends. Now, let's see here. Riotous Dave. Did you have a question before you said it sounds like a dumb question? I don't see a question that was dumb. Ian Longo sent roses. Thank you. I'm sorry I missed it earlier. Things scrolled. I don't go through them fast, but I try and go through them all. What's our time like? 5:22. I should be going offline shortly, but I want to try and catch up. Not catch up, like catch up. Oh, and I got an ice cream cone from Grim. Thank you very much. What do we have here? Stretch says, legit, I met Sean at the Honda Indy a couple of years ago. I was surprised. That's it, in response to me being taller than I look on screen. Stretch says, I used to go to school with my doppelganger. Like you went to school with your doppelganger? I'm reading it the way you wrote it. I'm assuming it's your own doppelganger, which would be weird. We talked about that. Is it illegal to drive with parking insurance? Johnny 7.3 wants to know. I've charged people for driving with parking insurance. What they mean is fire and theft for storage. Like if you have a car that is going to be summer driven only, it's a sports car, and you put fire and theft, leave it in the garage and don't drive it. And then you want to drive it on the first sunny day and you haven't called your insurance company to switch it over to driving insurance instead of parking insurance. Yeah, you're driving without insurance because you're not covered to operate it on the road, which is a legal requirement of the province of Ontario. So, so I've charged everyone that I've ever come across that did that. And the last one was in a Miata, I think it was a Miata, and he said, but I called this morning to verify that I have insurance and I'm covered. I called right then, and they did not agree. He lied. People tend to lie to the police. It's kind of sad. Thank you, John Horjic, who says TIL means today I learned. I did not know, and now not only did I learn about the Michigan left turn business on red, I also learned about TIL. Thank you very much, John. Can you confirm U-turns are always allowed unless specifically excluded? I can confirm that U-turns are specifically allowed in some areas to erase doubt that they are not. However, they are never permitted in a situation where you're in front of a bridge, viaduct, tunnel, railway crossing, curve in road which has no visibility, crest of grade that has no visibility, those are always prohibited. Now, aside from the ones that are always prohibited and the ones that are unsafe based on determination, which could be you causing a collision as you do them, then they're legal unless otherwise stated by sign. Yeah, I think we're covered. Let's see here. Talked about that. Apparently I missed those. Those were old. Okay. So I was originally looking to find Riotous Dave's original question, but there was none. Okay. Briar Carruthers says, 1 out of 2 from Ottawa here. I just got my pal, still learning the laws. So question is, do I need an ATT? So ATT is an authorization to transport. And if you're going to a licensed facility, I believe it's now all built. Well, I know it's all built in for a licensed firearms, a range. If you're going to a range and your firearm is one that is legal to leave your domicile, which so many of them are not at the moment based on the insanity of our government, but whatever. Tell me, what do you think I feel about this whole situation? Read between the lines. Yeah, I'm very open about the ridiculousness of the current laws. They've made so many regular Joe firearms for sporting purposes prohibited because somebody saw them in a movie and don't like them. And apparently there's more coming because they haven't harassed lawful firearms owners enough. But anyway, moving on. So 2 out of 2 says, to move my shotgun to the range, or is it only for restricted? So first of all, ATT, even back in the day, was only for restricted. A shotgun is unrestricted, and you could always transport that to go hunting, to do all the things you need to do. In terms of transporting restricted firearms, you needed an ATT. That was for like a handgun or a short barrel rifle, anything that was restricted. Makes sense. But you used to have to get a regular, you had to go to get a membership at a club to then get an ATT. Now you're covered to go to any club based on there's no ATT separate. It's all built in. Now, I don't recall, and I have to check, about going to a gunsmith. You might have to get an ATT for a gunsmith, or maybe they're covered, but I will find out for you. Just do me a favor, rather than talk about guns here, because nobody else but you and I care about them, just send me a message, voiceovercop@gmail. I'll find out for you. I'll confirm. I should know this, but it hasn't been an issue because I haven't gone to a gunsmith. Okay, most of the time it was about 10% over actual speed. Melvin, what do most speedometers show in inaccurate speed? Most speedometers underreport. So if you're doing 100, you're really doing 98. They're only really perfectly accurate at certain speeds, and it depends on how it was calibrated. However, if you're doing 100 on your speedometer and only doing 98, then you're not speeding. That's good. Okay, but they overreport, not underreport. They don't want you doing 110 when you're doing 100 on your speedometer. That would be bad. Cab 403 says, can I ask a question about drive-through Tim's? Ask away. I'd love to hear about your Tim Hortons story. KG says they smoke and drive every day. Is it fine to smoke cigarettes? Well, cigarettes, when you say smoke, I assumed you meant marijuana. But cigarettes are legal to smoke unless you have someone under the age of 16 in the car. That is going to be that would be under Ontario Smoke Free Ontario Act. That would prohibit you from having minors or people under the age of 16 in the car. You can be charged for that. It is also prohibited to drive a motor vehicle that is a work vehicle while smoking. So police officers smoking in the car, illegal. That's a work vehicle. Truck drivers who are driving like commercial trucks, work vehicle, can't do it. What is this? Oh, hold on a second. Okay, let's see here. Oh, Cam says he's got 2 guns, his left and right arm. Okay, Vars19 has a very odd question. Why do you have a beard? Well, I'm a man. As a man, if I don't shave, I grow a beard. Now, I've had a beard for many, many years. If you're new to the channel, you wouldn't know that. If you've been here before, you probably do know that. It was shorter when I was a police officer and I had to maintain uniform standards. But now that I am no longer a police officer, I can have a beard at any length. And I'm currently aiming for ZZ Top kind of like stuff. I've never had a beard this long in my life. So I'm trying it. I'm experiencing new things. Now, I'm actually in this point where I'm gone beyond where I would normally be comfortable growing it, but I want to get it sculpted by a barber, kind of beard barber person. I want to see if I can get one of those ridiculously cool beards that I have not yet achieved. So, yeah, that's why I have a beard, because I want to have a beard. We talked about that. For the private property charges, is there any other difference if it's your own property? What are we talking about? All right, this is Brandon Stevens' question for the private property charges. Do you mean stunt driving on private property? So when they changed the rules for stunt driving and made it an offense that can be written on private property, it's exactly the same as being on the road. There's no differentiation. Excuse me. Okay, covered that. We're a little bit of it's 5:29, which means I should be going offline in moments. So I'm going to scroll through. I will be back on Wednesday during regular time, 10 a.m. But let's see here. We got are burbles allowed like pops and bangs? Burbles, like the factory burbles, little baby burbles, those aren't terrible. If you're talking about burbles that are like snap, crackle, pop, constantly kaboom, that's unnecessary noise. That may even be seen as being a violation of now the HTA, but would have been considered the Environmental Protection Act, because you're changing the mixture of or the tuning of the engine so that it leaves more unspent gas in the exhaust, and that unspent gas is blowing up. So it means that you're harming the environment or dumping shit into the environment that you shouldn't be. Riot, as Dave says, not sure what classifies as restricted anymore since most restricted have been prohibited. Yeah, well, restricted yeah. Riot, as Dave, I scratch my head on a regular basis on this topic. Okay. Ian says we wouldn't remove sidewalks though if we don't have to. What is this? We wouldn't remove sidewalks though if we don't always see people walking them. So this is okay. So Ian Longo was asking me earlier about bicycle lanes, and because they're empty, I was complaining they're empty, they're not being used, we shouldn't have them. And he says in response, we wouldn't remove sidewalks if we don't always see people walking in them, right? And I would argue that it's not the same thing. A bicycle is a vehicle. It has the rights and responsibilities of being a vehicle on the road. If you're a vehicle, be a vehicle. You don't need to be separated. Now, I understand there's some benefits to having a segregation, but then we see people who do dumb stuff in the bike lane or don't use the bike lane, they use the regular lanes. Like, there's no perfect solution. But for the few people who use it, we should not destroy traffic in the city. Now, many people believe it's specifically for the purpose of destroying traffic in the city. That's not good. Like, like the people who really want to advocate for being green, I don't know what to tell you. Chad says, this is where cops go after they get fired. No, Chad. Although I guess this is where trolls go when they want to try and find someone who gives a crap about what they say. You're in the wrong place. I don't have feelings. I'm a former traffic cop. Former because I left for family reasons and not because I got fired. But, go have fun and have the day you deserve. What is Deadbolt saying? Okay. Oh, first, second. Wow. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that, Deadbolt. And what do we have here? AK Forever? Is that what your username is? Okay. Is it different? Oh, is it a different application to join as a traffic cop versus constable? No. A police officer is a police officer is a police officer. When it comes to traffic, we're just specialists in traffic. So no, in fact, you generally don't go to traffic straight off, although it happens on occasion. Casual support. What platform are you on? What do you mean? Like, what am I using to stream? If you go to trafficcop.ca, I've got links at the bottom. They are affiliate links if you want to go try out the software. I'm using Restream to broadcast on multi-platform, but I'm currently broadcasting on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, X, and TikTok. And what is this? Do you have to signal when you're turning? Yeah, you have to signal your intention to turn. And in the event that anyone else could be affected by that, whether it be pedestrian, bicycle, motor vehicle. So if anyone is out there to see it, it could impact them and you would have to signal. If you were alone in the forest, you may not have to. But then if you got a ticket, obviously somebody was there to see it. What is this? If a driver loses a license for a year, will he receive paperwork allowing him to drive again? You need to go and apply for a reinstatement. So it's about $250. You apply for reinstatement after your suspension is complete, and then you'd be able to get it reinstated, assuming you've actually completed the period of time, and then you can drive again once you've got your paperwork up to date. Do all windows need to work on a vehicle to pass safety? Like, do they have to go up and down? I don't think so. We've got armored vehicles that pass safety that don't have windows that go up and down at all. but I'm not aware of that being a thing. I've never checked. Moto Brew, how you doing, friend? It says, Sean, how was the auto show this year? It was good. I didn't see you, though. Were you not there? Did you not make it down? Moto Brew is the chap who rolls around on a motorcycle wearing a cow outfit. Yes, a cow outfit. Search Moto Brew, M-O-2-M. Who's calling me? I'm getting a phone call. My brother is calling me. It's probably because he knows I should be offline right now. So, Moto Brew, M-O-T-O-B-R-E-W. Okay. Owner operator truck drivers can smoke darts, eh? Can't. You said can? Oh, no. My understanding is it's a motor vehicle for work purposes, and you'd be covered as as such under the Smoke-Free Ontario Act. Antigua 1999 says, hey, Mr. Hot Sauce. Yes, that's me. I love the hot sauce. What is this? Let's see here. Scrolling back. Moto Brew says epic beard, even better. Actually, I met a gentleman at the motorcycle show who also had an epic beard, and we traded beard stories. And he is a construction guy, and he watches this live stream all the time. It was really appreciative of the things that we do to educate people. But he was what is his name? It was it was a great username, and I can't remember it now. That bugs me. We messaged him. I'll have to find it. Anyway, when do you get your beard done? When you get your beard done, do a live stream. That's Antigua 1999, who says I should do that. So a live stream. I thought about recording it. I don't know about live streaming while I get it done, but maybe. Tint Factory says, is chameleon tint legal? It meets the 80% VLT, but it's mirrored, no visibility into the driver. So it may be legal for the purposes of installing it for safety. Like the safety standard is different than the charge under the Highway Traffic Act that says that you specifically cannot obscure the interior of a motor vehicle with color or reflective tint. And that's specific to the windows left and right of the driver, and you can have nothing on the windshield. So chameleon tint, okay for the rear, even if it's for the rear seats, rear passenger seats, the cargo area, no problem. However, you cannot have chameleon tint left and right of the driver because that would prevent you from seeing inside, and that would make it obscuring the interior of the motor vehicle. So it would be a $110 fine. Ali wants to, or Ali says, hey, Sean, how, I guess, hope all is well. It is. Thank you for asking. They corrected it too. Are stop signs on private property enforceable? No, they're not. They're not. It's not the Highway Traffic Act. Although there's some things that are changing in terms of careless can be charged. So if you were running stop signs, could we charge you with careless? Yeah, it could be careless driving, just not a stop sign charge. When they update laws, do you get updates since you're no longer an officer? I do. I watch all the media releases from the Ontario government. I have a regular conversation there, but I don't get updates the way I don't get chief's messages, which is what was happening before. And I got to tell you that the media was getting it way before the police. We always heard things in the news and like, oh, I guess they're changing laws today. And if it wasn't for the fact that we were independently looking into things, we would never know. It's pretty pathetic. Joey, what's going on? Joey wants to know if we can park in a bike lane in an emergency or should we pull to the edge of the car lane? So, like if there's lights and sirens coming, you pull to the curb, the edge of the curb, because the cyclist should be stopping too. Everyone should be stopped. And an emergency is an emergency. You get off the roadway. If you're being pulled over by police, same thing. Unless it's a cycle track, which is where you have a barrier, you pull to the edge of the road or the curb or edge of roadway. What it says in the law, it doesn't say stop at the bicycle lane. Nice too says, and that's exactly what they did, slowing down emergency vehicles. Yes, it did mess things up. Why can't bike lanes be in residential streets rather than main streets? Antigua, that is a perfect solution. If you want. See, I got in trouble with the bicycle overlords, and they wrote a letter to the chief being very unhappy with me because I talked about wearing helmets and suggested they do that. But the deal was that I once said that cyclists ride bicycles for exercise. They lost their mind. These are serious modes of transportation, cycles, and I get it. They are. They people can do. However, not only are they're good exercise too. So why can't you take the lazy route on the side streets? I don't know. Makes sense to me. What do we got here? But no, I can't say I've ever played that game. Where's my lane? Miss Red says I agree with 100%. Sorry, I agree with the whole McDonald's thing. By the way, thank you very much, Miss Red. Casual support. Thanks for that, Sean. That's what I was asking. Cool. I've lost track of what I was talking about again. Have you ever had to empty a mag on somebody? Thankfully, I've not had to shoot anyone with my service firearm. Let's see here. Antigua says, in Ontario, windows need to work to pass safety. No kidding. I've never looked at that. That's interesting. So how does an armored vehicle get away with not having functioning windows? You cannot roll down an armored window. Interesting. Maybe they're special. Motor Brew did make it down, but not on Media Day. Joke JSV. Which motorcycle post was amazing? Was it the first one or the long form one talking about things? All right. How many years did you? I had been on the service for a total of just under 25 years. Oh, okay. Scrolling. Hi, Tracy. How you doing? If a car comes with a sun strip on the top of the windshield, can you put a banner across the top? Well, your vehicle, if it's a sun strip, is only lawful if it's on a vehicle 2016 or older. If it's newer than 2016, being 2017 or newer, you cannot have a sun strip there. Not lawful. Now, they want to know if they can put a banner there. My deal with banners is if the windshield wipers touch that area, you cannot have anything obstructing or obscuring it because you can't see through the banner. You can see through the tint strip. Depends on the officer, but I don't think you should have anything there, and I would give a ticket for it if it was obscuring the vision or view in any way. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Cool. All right. We caught it. We're up to date. We're through everything. Okay, I got 2 dad jokes, but we do got to go. So let's do the dad jokes. Dad joke. I bought my son a refrigerator for his birthday. I can't wait to see his face light up when he opens it. It's got a light in the refrigerator. It's got a light in the refrigerator. I like it. It's good. Antigua follows up and says, armored vehicles are special. They have small slit that opens for paperwork. Oh, that's the reason? They actually have gun ports. I think that's the slit you're talking about. All Things Sports Saskatchewan has a dad joke, which I am copying and pasting so it goes on screen. Stand by. Let's put this here. It deserves to be shared. That's awesome. And I can take this one out of order. I have a pet termite. I named him Clint Eats Wood. Clint Eats Wood. It's good. I like it. I like it a lot. All right. It's a good joke. It really is. Star Wars dad joke. Which planet is the most optimistic? Tatooine. It always has a can-do attitude. Really? I don't think that one's good. You tell me if I'm wrong. Was I being overly judgmental? We also have a Kayla's quote, good things disappear when we destroy the environments that support them. That's Jeff Einstein, a media ecologist. Good things disappear when we destroy the environments that support them. Like what? Like people when we destroy the planet? Like I don't know where we're going with that, but I like these things. It has been a slice. I've got to go. We only did 13 minutes overtime, and that's not unusual for me. So if you've got questions, I generally have answers, but no more for today. If you want to come back on Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern time, we'll do this all over again. If there's a better time, let me know. Send me a message. What time would be the best time for this show? Anyway, thanks for spending time with me. We'll see you soon. Take care. Oh, did I mention drive sober, drive legally, park legally too? It would be great. Thanks.